Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Monday the 11th of December 2017. So let's start off with the pound before we get to Bitcoin and the opening of the futures contract last night. So in the pound on Friday, market put in a bit of selling, you can see that there, before we had the buying come back in. The market then rallying up to just over 76% retracement of this. You can see the usual pattern here. Click there, down to there. You can always do this. Let me just take that out. Forget that after the market's closed, there you go. So you've got the market coming up to the 76% area and then closing back below it, and then with some selling, of course. You can see that there, it's higher than the buying bar. Resistance over here as well, and then it's south. We see some selling coming as the market breaks the 134.50 area. Try to buy it back. There's no follow through. Bit more selling. Then there's some short covering there, and then the market back down again as we head into late afternoon. And the market's been sideways ever since. Bit of a gap down there on news over the weekend. In the daily chart, the bigger picture, well, you can see that we've got resistance here at this 76%, and also if I draw this in for you, that one there, we go from the high to the low there. Again, you can see we've got this other 76% area as well that creates resistance. So the market needs to pound through this and drive through if it is to move higher, but fairly quiet at the moment. Big news week this week as well. There is no news today, absolutely nothing. So we could expect the market's focus to be on Bitcoin as opposed to anything else, as we've got the futures launched in this market yesterday. And in the Dow Friday, well, it started off with waiting for the non-farm payroll figures. These came out at 228, forecast of 198, 228. Better than forecast, but again, all the focus at the moment is appears to be on the Bitcoin cryptocurrencies, because obviously there's a bit of a major shift going on here, and you can see what effect this had on the Dow. Anybody that's in trading is looking at the Bitcoin futures to see how it's going to impact two camps. One, it's going to destroy it. The second one, it's going to create massive buying. And I've always been on the side that every fund manager is looking some way to actually maximize yield, because there isn't any around now with the bubbles in the stock market. Bond market's not paying anything. The metals markets are manipulated. So there's nowhere to go. So they're going to look at the opportunity to actually try and buy the market as opposed to try and destroy it. Let's face it, that's the way trading works. I'm going to cut off the nose to spite the face. It's a dangerous game, but we'll come to that in just a moment. We've got the Dow sideways, you can see we've got some selling to begin with, then we got the buying coming in, a bit more selling, then the buying, and then it just didn't want to do anything. You can see how the market was brought back here. They tested the selling that was over here, through the market below it, came back, and then the market moved higher, hit the resistance, profit taking, then support. Again, you can see this is buying pressure here because the volume's greater, then the buying, and then off we go. And then in the evening, the market's stuck in a trading range as it was Friday, and again waiting for the launch of the Bitcoin futures. So let's have a look and see what Bitcoin's done over the last few hours. You can see that it's up, and no surprise there. And in fact, let me get a better chart than this. Just one second. That's better. You can actually see, because obviously it trades 24 hours a day, whereas on MT4 it doesn't. So by looking at this, you can see that the market's continuing to move back towards the upside there as far as Bitcoin is concerned. And as it says here yesterday, If we just bring this back, this was the main event. We've got Bitcoin futures top 18,000, saw 20% from open, halted for second time. Obviously, when the market moves 10%, they put in these circuit breakers. They've been in there for years, actually, but this is just the insanity of all of this, frankly. How when you've got a market that is completely disconnected, they have no control over this, and this is why they can't manipulate it. You see, the metals prices they can manipulate because they can sell huge amounts of the paper into the market, and everybody thinks that somebody's actually selling the physical. Whereas with Bitcoin, they can't do that. They can't do that because it's decentralized, and everybody that's trading the actual Bitcoin is outside. The exchanges are independent of the main markets as well. So it's going to make life very difficult for the banks to try and short it. They'll come in and sell the paper, they'll do that, but it will bounce back because everybody that holds the Bitcoin, whether it's in crypto or whether it was in physical coins, will, because it's outside of the main exchanges, will bring it back. It's as simple as that when the futures market is actually closed. But as I've said before, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we don't see this start to trade 7 days a week, 24/7, to actually match what's going on in the main spot market, as it were. So again, just keep an eye on that one, because I don't think it'll be too long before markets will trade 7 days a week to keep up with the weekend trading, like we saw last weekend with a 2,000 point rise, or $2,000 rise in Bitcoin. And of course, if the market's closed and you're short, then you're just going to get completely shafted. It's as simple as that. Showing you the first two trades there. One was a loser, one was a winner, of course, because obviously futures markets is zero sum, one either side of the other. And also here, as it says, the CBOE's website crashed within minutes of the CBO open on Sunday, which also marked the launch of the first Bitcoin futures set to trade on a major exchange. No surprise there either. You're going to see this crash a lot, actually, as we saw last year. Well, sorry, no, this year with the Nasdaq. It's amazing that when a massive sell orders come into the market and they try to move the market, this time, in the case of Bitcoin, it's going to be the opposite. If they get huge buy orders because they don't want to try and short it, they want to take advantage of the ride. You wait and see if this market has, or the websites and the technology has technical glitches, as we saw with the Nasdaq last year when people tried to actually sell heavily into the market. It's amazing how many times they had issues. Let's see what else. There was a comment by Bob Pisani. I don't watch any of the business news channels, but I think he was on CNBC years ago. Probably still is, but he was saying that he expected the... Oh, here you go, found it. It says it was reopened at 10 after they put the sorted the site out, and also the circuit breakers. It was reported at 10:10 Eastern Time, all of which is odd because Bob Pisani and the rest of the mainstream said that the opening of Bitcoin futures would bring about the demise of the cryptocurrency due to the ability to short. Shorting this with the masses of people that are coming on board is financial suicide, and unless they're going to actually hit it hard, it isn't going to make any difference. And like I say, it's disconnected. They can't control this like they can control all of the other markets. They can sell the VIX to bring the stock market up. They can sell the paper metals to bring the price of gold and silver down, which they do every night without fail. So on this one, they're sort of at a disadvantage, sort of one hand behind the back, as it were, as far as this. And this is what makes this exciting, just to see how they're going to actually try and stop it. I mean, they could do other legislative things, of course, by banning it in certain countries, or exchange. You've got to have all sorts of rules that they could bring in. But if they're going to try and stop it by shorting the futures, then they're on to a hiding to nothing. And today will be exciting to see how this pans out later on this afternoon when the US wakes up and comes on board. Let's see. Unfortunately, I'll be missing in action. I've got hospital appointment later on today. So, but as soon as I get back, I shall be glued to seeing what's going on. It should be around 5 p.m. So let's see. Right, a quick look at the implied volatility, which I forgot earlier. In all of the excitement of the Bitcoin futures being launched, and of course being halted twice because they haven't got a clue how it's going to pan out, and of course the main market moving the prices against them, as it were. So in the implied volatility down to well, from 945. I haven't actually updated this yet. Let me just do this for you. Just add the data label in. So we've gone from about 945 down to 915, and that's because the market was quiet during Friday. So let's see what today brings all round. But like I say, the main market focus, if you were to put the business channels on, or again on Zero Hedge, which a huge number of articles over the weekend on there about Bitcoin, it seems to be coming to the forefront of everybody's trading and market analysis at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on it, and if there's anything to report, I will let you know. Other than that, as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.